What is up, everybody? Ivory here. Yes, that's my feral name. I'm not dropping a lips video, that's strictly for Animal Jam. As you can probably already tell, my mood and overall demeanor in feral videos is going to be a little more mature. I'm not gonna act all peppy and happy all the time, because I understand that most of you watching my videos now, and on feral videos at least, are going to be at least 13 and up. If you're a little kid, click off this video right now, because you're not really gonna find anything interesting here. Anyways, so you will notice in my feral videos, I am gonna be a little more sarcastic, a little more blunt, a little more somewhat condescending seeming, just for fun. I'm not gonna actually be legitimately mean. This is my personality in real life. In real life, this is how I talk, this is how I act. It's just, in Animal Jam, I was still being myself, of course, but it was a little more filtered, just because I understood that kids were watching my videos. I had to tone it down, had to be a little more easygoing and understanding, because they're kids mostly. But since this is a game for teens, and I expect that the audience will be teens, I'm going to act appropriately for that. I'm not going to talk down to you guys like you're little 5-year-olds. You're young adults and teens. I'm going to treat you like young adults and teens. Okay, I know the feral beta isn't back yet. It went away in mid-January. But this video is to talk about my personal opinions on feral and how I personally think the game is going to go down when it releases. So, honest opinion, it's a great game. Very creative. Very unique. It reminds me of what? Spirited Away, because of all these visuals. Come on, it has that mythical feel of a Studio Ghibli film. All that stuff, and I love that. That is my dream come true in any game. And I love this design. The design for my main feral look, Ivory, I love it. Words cannot describe how much I love this kitsune look. But I'm going to talk about my personal opinions on how I think this game is going to go down, and my thoughts on the fact that everyone is overhyping it to the extreme that they can't even wait patiently for it. So, yeah, I'm going to be talking about why I think people need to be a little more patient, not get their hopes up, because they are. Believe me, a lot of people are getting their hopes up a little too high, and while it's great to be excited for a new game on the way, you don't want to get your hopes up way too high, because what if the game is not what you think it is? What if you had this vision in your mind that it was going to be another better version of Animal Jam, when really it's a different game all on its own? Let me just clarify here. It is not Animal Jam. It is a completely different game, completely different world, completely different lore. So if you're expecting a quote-unquote better version of Animal Jam, it's not a version of Animal Jam at all. But what I can tell you it is, though, is it is a little more visually appealing in some senses than Animal Jam. I mean, Animal Jam is great. I grew up with that game. There's no way I'm going to be bashing on it when Feral arrives, but Feral in its own aspect is great. It's a great game, and I'm pretty hopeful that the gameplay will be great. It'll be a new chapter for a lot of people. But what I'm not hopeful about is the fact that people are actually expecting that they're going to fully, completely replace Animal Jam with it. Let's just be real here. You grew up with Animal Jam. It has a nostalgic place in your heart. Do you think Feral is going to fully replace that? Do you think that everything you had in Animal Jam that you enjoyed is going to be replaced with Feral? Do you think it's going to have the same connection? Are you going to sit well with it as you did with Animal Jam? And that's what I'm really worried about for those people who think they can replace Animal Jam with Feral. Because a lot of people are completely quitting Animal Jam just because Feral is coming. I mean, are you quitting because you don't enjoy Animal Jam anymore, or are you quitting because you think you're going to revive your dead channel with Feral? A bit blunt, yes, I know, but let's be realistic here. If you're quitting Animal Jam and joining Feral only because it's going to revive your dead channel, I would recommend you just move on with life, because if you really want to not repeat history with Feral, if you don't want to repeat Animal Jam's history in the game Feral, I suggest you don't force yourself to make videos that are pandered out for 10 minutes, I don't know, this is probably not relevant to today, but I remember, like, back in early 2017, everyone used to make these clickbait videos and have these clickbait thumbnails and titles, and people would click on them and they wouldn't find what they were looking for because it was a clickbait video, obviously. And that's how people got views on Animal Jam videos back in the day. But did those people really genuinely enjoy Animal Jam? No. A lot of those people were just treating Animal Jam as a cash cow. They didn't really like what they were doing, and eventually when their channels began to die off, they quit Animal Jam just because they thought, oh, my channel's dead, there's no way I'm going to be able to revive it now because Animal Jam's dead. And now they suddenly think that because Feral is coming out, that they'll have a shot at reviving their dead channels again. That's great, really, it's great, but, as I was going to say, are you truly passionate about Feral enough to stay on it for years to come and not just treat it as a cash cow? Will you genuinely enjoy the game? Are you in it because you enjoy it? Are you passionate about it? Or are you treating this as an easy way to get cash? Because if you're one of those people who are legitimately quitting your part-time jobs just to join Feral, I feel sorry for you, because we all know what happens when you decide to treat YouTube as your full-time job. I mean, the whole experience with Kappa in November, that should have woken up a lot of people that YouTube is not a steady job. It's clearly a hobby. And before you say, well, I'm quitting Animal Jam videos and those are for kids, for your information, you can make Animal Jam videos and label them as not for kids. Given the fact that it's a game, gaming is general audience. I know the game's target audience is for kids, but that literally doesn't matter unless your videos themselves are being targeted to kids. My point here is, if you're really going to quit Animal Jam, when you probably still fully enjoy it, just to move on to Feral to revive your dead channel, how's that going to work out for you? My advice would be, if you still love Animal Jam, stay on it, but also play Feral at the same time. There's nothing wrong with making Animal Jam and Feral videos at the same time. You don't have to give up what you love. You're not going to get in trouble with the FTC if you make Animal Jam videos and label them as not for kids. There is living proof of this. There's channels like Flamingoop that are still posting Animal Jam content. Look at him. Is he getting into any trouble? And all of his videos are not for kids because there's a comment section. So, I mean, if that's not proof enough that you're totally fine continuing to make AJ videos, I don't know what is. And if your argument is that, well, AJ videos are never going to get anywhere because the game is dying. Yeah, valid argument. The game has, crumbled a bit, kind of declined, but are you really going to use that as an excuse to quit doing what you love? If you love making AJ videos, don't just give it up to move to Feral. If you don't like Feral, that's okay. You can admit that. You don't have to follow this bandwagon that everyone else is following and say, I'm going to quit Animal Jam and join Feral. How do you know that's going to work out for you? Don't get your hopes up, people. If you don't like it, that's okay. If you love it and you want to quit Animal Jam for it, that's okay too. Just don't be one of those desperate clowns who hop off the Animal Jam train and onto the Feral train just because you want some extra cash. If you genuinely enjoy Feral and it's going to work out for you, go ahead, join it, play it, do whatever you want. Milk the heck out of it if you love it. But do not repeat history and join it just because you want money and views. Because eventually, your passion for it will drain, the community in Feral will have a repeated history and die out like Animal Jam did, and I'm pretty certain that a lot of people would want to start fresh on Feral. They don't want to have to repeat their mistakes from Animal Jam and have it go into Feral. And that leads me to talk about the community aspect of Feral. A lot of people are hopeful that it's going to be a much better community because a lot of more mature, older teens and adults will be playing it. Valid. A lot of mature teens and adults will probably be playing Feral because they're not going to be little kids. Great. But here's the problem with that. Not all teens and adults are mature for their age. As a matter of fact, a lot of the old toxic people that quit Animal Jam are likely going to come running back to play Feral. And let me tell ya, toxic people usually don't change their ways. Just because they grow older and supposedly mature doesn't mean they fully change their ways. They will carry the same values throughout their whole lives. They won't ever see what's wrong with their actions, and they're probably going to make the feral community a nightmare as well. So I'm just here to give you all some friendly advice. Do not think that just because it's a new community that you're not going to run into complete bozos. If you run into a toxic person in feral, remember what I said. This is a game for teens and adults. There is complete freedom in the chat. Like, I know WildWorks can claim all they want that, yes, they're going to ban or suspend people with hate speech, but look at how Animal Jam has such a regulated chat, and yet people are so horrible with each other. People scam each other, people do all these horrible things, and it's a kid's game. And there's a filtered chat. But in feral, we have an unfiltered chat. And let's be real here, a lot of younger kids will sneak on to feral and play it. I know how the community works. I've been here 7 years, so you can't tell me that little kids aren't gonna break the rules a little bit and join feral. And what happens next? They run into some creepy child predators on there. Like, let's be real here. This is a game for teens and adults. How's that gonna work out in community aspect? You really think it's going to be better, more mature? Yes, there will be the gems there, but don't fool yourself into believing that the feral community will be this absolute utopia of perfect people. You need to be on guard. You need to be careful who you interact with so we do not repeat Animal Jam's history. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. You can go ahead, prove me wrong when feral arrives, okay? You can go ahead and prove me wrong when it comes out. But for now, I know how the community works. I know a lot of people are going to return for feral, and they're going to continue their toxic ways, but worse. And the only way for me to be wrong in that situation is if the feral community recognizes what they did wrong in Animal Jam and actually works together to create a loving, caring, happy community in feral. I do not want to repeat history. Who wants that? As much as I love Animal Jam, it's gonna be devastating to see feral turn into another version of it, but worse because there's freedom in chat. Complete freedom to be your toxic self in feral. Do we want that? Do we want to repeat history? I don't. So, what my challenge for you is, if you are new to feral, remember, completely different game, completely different environment, hopefully different community. If it's a great community, great. It better stay that way. But if it's awful and it's just like Animal Jam, I won't say I told you so when I told you not to get your hypes up for it. Because a lot of people are getting their hopes up thinking, oh, it's going to be the best, it's going to be better than Animal Jam. You'll see. You will see. My advice for you, don't get your hopes up. Try to enjoy Animal Jam as much as you can if you're still into it. Because when people move to feral and they realize it's not what they expected, they're going to come running back to Animal Jam and look like total clowns because they hyped themselves up for a game that they didn't realize was going to be completely different than Animal Jam. And I know this is not everyone. I know some people know exactly what they're hyping themselves up for. But this is for the people who actually genuinely believe that they're going to get to quit their part-time jobs and become a successful, popular YouTuber on feral. And if you have dreams like that, great. I'm not stopping you. I'm just saying, be realistic here, people. You don't know what it's going to be like. You don't know what you're getting yourself into if you think it's going to be the best place on earth. You guys need to work together. We need to work together as a community to make sure the feral community does not repeat history from Animal Jam. And I know I'm a bit blunt here, but this is how I am in real life, guys. And this is a feral video, so I mean, just what I'm saying here is don't get overexcited. Be smart. Remember what you did wrong in Animal Jam and correct it when you move to feral. Because if feral is going to turn out just like Animal Jam, I am not going to stay on it. This is why I'm a bit cynical about feral, because if it's just going to repeat history and be this utopia for grown children to continue being toxic idiots to each other, do you really think I'm going to want to stick around? You really think I'm going to want to continue making content for it? Like, Animal Jam, it's an exception because I have an emotional attachment to that game, but I'm well aware its community is questionable. But if Feral's community is like that, and I don't have this emotional attachment to it, I'm just gonna give up on it. You know, I'm not gonna spend another 4 or 5 years making videos for a game that turns out to be worse than Animal Jam. So, yeah. I'm probably the only Jambassador, or in this video I should say, WildWorks ambassador, that has the guts to say all this. The true, unfiltered thought about Feral. I think it's gonna be a great game. But the community, you're gonna have to prove me wrong on my points that it's probably going to be worse than Animal Jam, unless we learn from our mistakes. So yeah, prove me wrong. Prove that this community will be better. Prove that we can work together and actually use our brains every now and then. Or we will repeat history, and Feral will die off, and I am not in the mood to repeat history, because that was a stressful experience in Animal Jam. I bit my tongue about it because I knew I was in a community with kids, and I had to keep my dignity. But this is Feral we're talking about. There aren't any little kids here, I would hope not, and if they are, they shouldn't be here. I'm really sorry your parents don't know how to parent you, but yeah, prove me wrong. Will Feral be better than Animal Jam, or will it be the same? Or will it be worse? We shall see. But take this video as a challenge. My challenge for you, Feral people. Alright. Hope you all have a great day, and I'm excited for Feral's release. We'll see how it turns out.